because that idea of getting to that one vlog a day was no accident, actually. And there's a story here, and I've kind of gotten a couple of graphics here to kind of tell that story, because we're at one layer of the discussion, which is like, be you, right? Which is like maybe kind of cheesy, but like it's real advice in this scenario, right? But like there's some layers to this that show you the power of being you, because guess what? Benji's been doing it for a hot second here, like we were just talking about. So this is the segment of the show that we call the Film Room, which is kind of like the director's commentary for the channels that we run here at Creator Secrets. And so I've been working for Benji for about a decade on and off now at this point. And we really started to connect around November of 2023, when you told me that you wanted to make a course actually about brand deals at the time. And now you know this already because we talked about it on the show, that we actually made a course about vlogging, but we'll get to that in a second. So at the time, I would say, Benji, you were very much in your motivational era, right? You and Judy had been vlogging for over a decade at that point. You'd started multiple channels, all massively successful. Doc already gave you your props for writing YouTube secrets and having all of those things. But you went on Twitter to go tweet some inspiration because you were feeling so motivational at that point. And let me go ahead and read it to you here. 34 days left in the year. If you create a video a day, that's already better than 99% of creators out there. You'll end this year strong and 100% start out 2024 with a bang. Don't wait for the new year to crush it. That was November 27th. Remember, this is me reconnecting with Benji in November of 2023. Just hours later, he got a response from Daniel Batal. And this is no hate to Daniel Batal. He's a great friend of the show. And actually, he has a great response at the very end. But he's like, Benji, video a day? Pass me that bottle. Whatever you're drinking, I want some. Now, 30 days later, just to cut to the chase here, Benji replies to Daniel with this, which is a screen recording of him scrolling through his channel where it says 30 videos, 30 days, it's possible. So, and by the way, Daniel replied after that, he's like, dang, bro, you're the OG, you're the best. So what made that possible? That was the real question. Now, I'm going to put a pin in that. We're going to come back to it. At the same time, we were also creating this brand deals course, right? We were going down this brand deals kind of course path. We weren't quite ready. We're still kind of getting our wheels underneath us. Doc, I don't know if you know this story actually, but we were inspired by Benji's unofficial Vlogmas, right? Because he was doing this all of the month of December, right? And so what we decided to do come January was pivot to what Benji's really known for, which is vlogging. And that experience altogether became Vlogging Academy, our course that teaches people how to vlog the new way. If you want to check it out, it is in the description, vloggingacademy.com. But I tell that story as context because Benji started vlogging in a new way in December of 2023, which means that we have 26 3/4 months experience of data that we can come back to. Now, Benji, before I get to the data, which I think is going to be the star of the show here, tell us a little bit about what has happened and how your vlog approach has changed over those last 27 months. But tell us first, at the beginning of that story, what your approach was in terms of vlogging the new way, because I think it applies to everything that you and Doc were just talking about.
Yeah, and this is way before AI was a serious discussion and competing with creators. This was before the television was a part of the focus of a new device that's creating this new behavior for watching long form content. So going back to that era, by the way, there's a little hidden joke in there. Daniel Batal, which is a friend of mine, him and I geek out on whiskey. We both like whiskey and bourbon and whatever. And so when he said, hand me that bottle. Yeah. I like the Japanese whiskey too, okay? But I'm more of a bourbon guy.
No, I have a massive whiskey collection, bourbon and Japanese. I got both. I'm friends with Jacob No, who's the great-grandson of Jim Beam.
Well, hey, I need to go visit you. But so when Daniel said that, it was just funny because, it's Twitter. We're not taking it too seriously, but at the same time, he was taking a little jab at me, okay? And at the time I was coaching creators, this kind of new vlog method, I was telling people that like this is going to work. Because what was happening is vlogging kind of died the old way, or it got so competitive. Why? When you first started vlogging in the era that Judy and I started, it was really behind the scenes content of what your audience already knew about you. So it was an extension. So you had to be famous or you had to have a whole bunch of subscribers for your vlog to work. And part of the reason it did work is because they wanted to know more about you than whatever the topic of your main YouTube channel was. So in the early days, you literally just vlogged your whole day from morning to nighttime, and you literally vlogged everything. There was no direction. You were the direction. But because you had already proven yourself to an audience, they're like, yeah, I'll watch more. And also, there wasn't as much content back then, to be fair, okay? So even though I give my wife a lot of credit, not only for starting us on YouTube when her beauty channel blew up, but then we were like the early vloggers, like even before Casey was doing it. Part of it was there wasn't a lot of competition, but guess what? It got competitive fast. And Casey Neistat comes on the scene. All these young kids are vlogging their whole life and doing crazy things like jumping over Ferraris and like filming in like the Suicide Force in Japan. No disrespect, but they were doing stupid stuff. Okay, but it was getting people's attention, and you further had to be more famous, and the algorithm was all mixed up. Okay, all that kind of died. But people were still doing it, especially beginners. Or what's actually really sad, big like influencer creators on TikTok coming to YouTube and doing it the way they saw people like my wife and I doing, or Casey Neistat doing, or just like they vlog in community, vlogging their whole day. But it wasn't getting any views. What people didn't realize is there's so much content and the algorithm was so good. We're feeding into your interest now at a rate where we don't care, right, as viewers, how many subscribers you have. We don't care if we know who you are. We don't even care if you literally, this is day one and this is your first video. If the video has 1 million views and it's around the topic that you're interested in, we might give it a chance and we might watch the whole thing. Doc, I'm sure you can agree with this. There's been plenty of videos that are 45 minutes long that I never would have watched before, but for whatever reason, like it hit that topic and I only had 5 minutes left, but I ended up watching the 45 minutes and I'm late for a call or whatever, okay? So I saw this happening and I'm like, huh. And all that stuff was all over the place, right? There's some like webcam videos and then there's definitely like the more highly produced stuff. I was like, I feel like this would work for vlogging, but I'm just going to vlog one thing, one topic, one takeaway. And so I started teaching this new method. And so when he said that, I was like, you know what? I'm trying to teach it to people, but they keep falling into the old way. Right? They keep doing it the Casey Neistat way, the way my wife, started in 2011, that just died, and they're not listening to it. I will literally spend like 2 or 3 hours with somebody, and like their second and third upload is just like the old way. So I'm like, you know what? And Daniel like called me out. I was like, all right, if Daniel's gonna call me out, let me show him what's up. And I did. And this is in an era where we were still vlogging 5 days a week. I have 5 children. Okay, I love hanging out with them. I have this wife that I like to go on dates with. I work out. I don't think I was doing Taekwondo yet, but like, I'm a busy guy and I'm running a business. I manage a team, all this kind of stuff. I was like, you know what? Just like Doc wanted to show his audience, I was like, I'm going to show them on a channel that was completely dead in the water. Okay, even my evergreen videos, again, it had to compete against like a decade of way better creators editing amazing stuff. And I was like, but this new vlog method, for some reason, it's going to work because there's a shift on the platform. This new vlog method is so much easier because I'm vlogging just one thing. The old way, I would vlog everything. Now I'm just vlogging one thing. The old way, I'm vlogging for everybody. Now I'm just vlogging for one person. The old way, right, inevitably made you get highly produced to the point where you're editing out the fluff. That's something that Sean and I actually taught. Take away the fluff, just leave the meat, right? I was like, no, that is part of the problem, because in the era of highly produced content, the personality became novel, right? Like who you are is what people were craving. So my new vlog method, number one, getting rid of the niche of a channel. So we just have a general theme. So instead of me being this like recipe tutorial Food Network style chef, I was like, you know what? I'm just sharing my passion for food. That's the theme of my channel. Secondly, I wasn't vlogging everything. I'm vlogging a specific topic underneath the theme of my channel. And I always have a takeaway. So if you watch me and you've never, heard from me, you don't know who I am, you have no context with the type of creator I am, I know that when you watch my very topical vlog, you're going to walk away with something valuable. Okay. Third, I'm telling more stories. So these are the 3 T's of the new vlog method. And I do it in a way where I make it really simple on myself. I don't overly edit it. I live vlog. So by the way, my whole like framework for how I vlog is The very beginning of my vlog is the beginning of my video. The next shot is the next part of my video, so on. And the very end is that. So like Lee, when I go into a grocery store, the first shot you see is me in front of the grocery store. It's like, hey, today I'm going to go into this grocery store. I'm going to see what kind of like, things are on sale or whatever and show you guys how much it costs. I go through the whole thing, and then at the very end, I'm holding the bag in my arms like, hey guys, I just bought it and this is what the price was. I'll see you later. I don't vlog me going to the laundromat. Not that I ever do. I don't go like work out afterwards. I'm just super focused on the topic, which was this grocery store. So it made it super easy. And I was able to do 30 days straight. And it's funny. I was thinking about Daniel the whole time. Like, I'm going to show him. And it didn't stop there. I kept going for like 6 months. And that challenge just grew and grew and grew. And I did it also more importantly than just to show Daniel and all those people that saw the post that it's possible. I wanted to show my students it's possible. That even me being super busy and having all the things in my life that are also priority, that I could execute in an easy way. And it's just funny because inevitably, when you upload that much, you're going to gain traction. You're going to learn how to record better. I was using the Osmo too. I got like pretty wicked with it, like in terms of like using it. It's like it's extension of my body. So I don't know exactly where you want me to go with it, but the point is this. What made YouTube so competitive and hard, the opposite became novel and new, but it's the easier stuff. And so what I realized in 2024, building on this, right? So we said 26 months. I realized the reason why these longer vlogs, by the way, are working is because people are watching content on the TV, right? The pandemic forced us to like look for more to watch. There wasn't enough on Netflix. There wasn't enough on Hulu. And we were using the casting function from the YouTube app and we're watching longer videos. And that's what I was providing. Remember, edit out the fluff. Highly produced content, the videos were getting shorter and shorter. What's that sound like? Inevitably, a TikTok. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do the opposite because the TV is part of the equation now. And that's what led me to today. And this is after now the AI, which is going to make it even worse. Okay. Because if a video is 3 or 4 minutes, but it could be a shorts at 30 seconds, it's becoming a shorts. This was crazy. A shorts at 30 seconds that you can get in 3 seconds on ChatGPT. ChatGPT is just better for a lot of other people. I'm not saying it's gonna fully replace it. I'm just saying it is a substitute. So my whole theory got even more extremely relevant. So this is why live streams to me is the next logical step. This is, by the way, it's not just because we work with Ecamm. Doc and I really believe the exact same thing. I'm telling you, the next big superstars, even bigger than Kai Cenat and iShowSpeed, are going to be these live streamers, and it's going to be like the Truman Show. I've already seen what vlogging does for a person. My wife, we live in a like little farming town north of Seattle. I rep Seattle, but I'm really from this little like strawberry town, okay? You can go do the research and find out where that is. She is one of the most famous Filipina beauty content creators that's turned mom vlogger in the world. And we still live within a 1/4 mile radius of where we grew up the last 30 years. Why is that possible? Because of YouTube, okay? Because anyone can get access to it. And what's crazy is this. I really believe the way vlogging did that for her, vlog style live streams are going to think, you're already seeing it with Kai Cenat and iShowSpeed in real life. But it doesn't have to be like that. What's crazy about vlogs, it was like this feel in the early days, and it expanded out to all these different other niches. So long story short, it started with Daniel calling me out in an era where I was getting all motivated, wanted to pump everybody up, and I did it for 30 days. And on this journey, I'm just like realizing, man, all you got to do is live what I'm doing right now, which is just be yourself. Share whatever it is that you want to share with the world that you think would be valuable for this one person. And I can tell you there's way more than one person that'd be interested. There's probably 100, 1,000, 1,000,000, billion potentially. And the only thing stopping you is creating that content, not competing in that overly competitive world, but literally stepping outside of that and just doing the thing that nobody else thinks is valuable, yet it gets so many views.
Yeah, I mean, in that spirit of Docs 419 is what I'm going to call that. Docs 419. You kept on vlogging after those 30 days, right? You kind of ebbed and flowed a little bit, but I want to get to the power of this. Sorry, Doc, to hold us off just a little bit longer, but I promise it's going to be worth it here. Neutrally, can we pull up the first thing? Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to show us exactly what happened over those last 27 months on Benji's channel, because I'm guarantee you guys that we're going to get some really interesting stuff. So let's pull up the first one. The first one is a big one, which is revenue. How much did Benji make month by month on AdSense on his YouTube channel? You can see it starts really high because guess what? He's there and he's vlogging right away, posting a ton, right? It grows as he kind of gains the understanding of it. And then guess what? You slow down a little bit in terms of posting, but it actually levels out. And actually, here's what I want to show you next, which is the views that you have. So if you look at your views, it actually follows the exact same curve there, right? Starts up really high because you're posting a ton, kind of levels off, right? It kind of gets to a steady state as you find
By the way,
thing
just
that works
side
for
note,
you.
one of the reasons it's going down is just simply I'm not uploading as much.
And which is what we're going to get to in a second. The third thing related to views is the watch time. So the total watch time across his channel, you take a look at here, it spikes and then it kind of levels out, right? And then finally, the one that Benji was talking about right here is the videos published. And actually this one is much more dramatic. You can see the number of videos that he published over those first couple of months, 30, both months for 2 months in a row, and kind of tapering off slowly over time. But guess what? It's more dramatic than the other two that you saw before. So looking at those four, cycling through them, revenue goes up and flattens out. Views goes up and kind of more flattens out. Watch time goes up and actually flattens out at a higher level, which is kind of interesting. We're going to talk about that in a second. And videos published, the workload got way, 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 way less from that peak and kind of flattened out as well. Let me show you the one thing that didn't do that. So the number one statistic that I think that we talk about on this show that maybe not a lot of people talk about when they're talking about YouTube analysis is AVD. AVD stands for average view duration. And this is what Benji's average view duration across his videos were over the course of the lifetime of his channel when he was vlogging. Thank you, Neutrally, for the effect. Month over month over month here, you see the growth of Benji's average view duration. And what that means is that the people who are watching Benji's channel, the average viewer of his channel, is watching his channel for longer and longer and longer. What does that mean? They're spending more and more and more time with Benji, video by video. Now, if you think back to those videos that we were looking at, or those graphs that we were looking at before, you can think about, oh, well, you know, Benji started posting a lot and therefore his views were really high. His watch time was really high and things like that. But what has happened is that as Benji has found a steady state about what is actually fitting, fits his schedule, right? Because those 30 days were just a way for him to kind of prove, sorry, Daniel Batal wrong right there, and prove that the method worked. The average view duration, the actual amount of time that people are spending with you, was going up and up and up. And now the first thing about that is that from what I remember, part of that is because you're just making longer videos now, right? Yep. And part of that is going live, right? The other piece of it is because YouTube algorithm has now found those 10,000, 100,000 people beyond that really resonate with your content, that resonate with you being you, as you and Doc talked about this whole time. So the lesson here is that revenue is pretty much generally aligned with view count, watch time, but it's also aligned with the total number of videos that you publish, which is kind of interesting. But there was one that didn't belong amongst those 5 graphs, which is the average view duration. And so that, I think, describes the history of the channel. Doc, do you have any reactions to that when you see the story of Benji's channel over those months?
100%, because I mentioned it a long time ago. Time equals trust.
Yeah.
And if we had to go this to my marketing degree, we're going to call it, you know, KL&T, right? Know, like, and trust. When I was in school, the common thought process is it takes 7 touch points for a customer to eventually buy something from you. So if you were running a small boutique shop, we're selling, you know, Seattle streetwear, you know, somebody going to come into the shop and touch everything about 6, 7 times. The next time they come in, they're going to buy something. And my family owned a retail store, so I know this to be a fact. And my mom used to get super irritated that the people would come in the store and hang out all the time and not buy nothing. I'm like, Mom, they're trying to make sure that we stay going to be here. They want to make sure that, you know, we're all real good people and that, you know, nothing's funny. She goes, yeah, but they just want a TV, or why can't they just buy a TV and go? I'm like, that's not how it works, especially when it comes to the high-end stereo guys. High-end stereo guys are nerdy. Like, they want to know that you know what they know. and they want to hear their music on the system and things of that nature. What happens is eventually this person who used to come to the store and hang out all the time comes in and buys, like 20 grand worth of stuff. And my mom was like, oh, you was right. And I'm like, I'm telling you, they knew that they wanted to spend money, but they weren't going to flash. They weren't going to talk about what they were going to buy. The people who buy a place where you set up a speakers and you sit in your room, you turn off the lights and you grab a whiskey and a cigar, those people are special. They need that kind of hand holding. So by Benji showing up all the time and proving that he's not like these other creators who just want their money, proving that he's a real good person, proving that, he is somebody that I can vibe with, because, it's kind of about vibes now. I mean, you guys are always talking about it, your generation. This is that know, like, and trust factor. And I won't use bad words on your show, but we have a thing in the hood that I don't mess with people who don't mess with people I mess with, right? That's a famous saying in the hood. And so even if I get introduced to you from a different person, I got to spend some time in the cut just kind of seeing how you make moves before I give you my time. Because time is valuable. It's the one asset we cannot get, borrow, steal, get from anybody. It's all we got. That one's a one and done. And so by the work he put in, he built that loyal following. And those people are worth more than the mass numbers, right? There's definitely creators who I watch and I kind of like their content, and then they start making weird stuff or going off the deep end or just talking about things that's no longer interested. And then, I'm no longer in their interest graft. However, I notice the platform does to me every day, and I show this to my people every freaking week. Go to your page, look at how many channels are being fed to you where the subscriber has less than 1,000 subscribers or the video has less than a couple hundred views. Because now YouTube knows what you're interested in. Right now, for me, I am hard on 3D printing. It's kind of psycho and F1 because it's F1 season. And I'm getting F1 explainer videos from dude who in a basement, they're just fans like me. They don't have an established F1 channel. And that's a busy hobby that requires a lot of money. So a lot of the F1 channels are people who can afford to fly around the country and in the world and go to all these different races. But there's people like me that just are nerding out from inside the house. I'm starting to see those dudes show up on my YouTube feed right now because the season starts next Saturday. Vroom,
Doc, speaking of graphs, that average view duration graph got me thinking that I could utilize my high school math education here to tell us something really interesting, which is that we can get a super rough idea of what the most important factor is when it comes to maximizing revenue across the month that Benji was actually doing things. Are there any guesses amongst the three of us about what the most important factor was? I'll give them to you again. Revenue, views, that's total number of views, watch time, or the number of videos published. Any of those sound like they might be the most important?
Probably watch time.
Watch time?
I mean, I want to say how many, of all the data points in the last 24 plus months, which one is the most important for what?
Of the in terms of maximizing revenue. So again, views, watch time, videos published, or average view duration.
AVD?
Yeah. You're betting AVD?
Yes.
Let's start with views. If you take a look at this is my high school math education coming into play here. You see a graph where on the left side, you see the amount of revenue that Benji made in a particular month. So all of those dots represent some month. On the left side, you see the amount, right? Now, on the bottom of this one is the number of views. On the left, there's fewer views. On the right, there's more. And if you take a look, there's a line down the middle, and the line represents the trend of these things. So in general, the more views you get, the more money you make. Oh, big whoop, right? I promise you, we'll come back to this because it actually is quite interesting. Let's take a look at the next one, which is watch time, which is Doc's guess here. Watch time looks awfully similar. The more watch time you get, the more revenue you get. You see, maybe it's a little steeper than the other one, which is important as well. Let's take a look at the next one, which is the videos that you publish, the number of videos that you published. This one isn't quite as correlated, which is kind of interesting, right? So you'd think that the more you publish, the more you make, which is generally true, but it's a little bit more all over the place.
Yeah.
The very last one that we're going to look at here is average view duration, which is Benji's. Benji's here, it shows you that it's very similar. It's actually a slightly negative one where it's actually going down over time. But again, like the other ones, this one is the least correlated amongst all of them. Now, What I did is I took a look at all of them and I said, which one is the best predictor of how much revenue you're going to make? And I'm so sorry. I was a high school math teacher, so I have to give you a little bit of high school math here. If we can go to the very last image, usually G16, it'll show you a specific number there that shows you how correlated. So look along the right side. You see something called an R-squared value, right? So for views, the R-squared value is 0.7. For watch time, the R-squared value is 0.9. For AVD, the R-squared is 0.2. Videos published, 0.4. And then I have a last one there, which I'll talk about later, which is 0.4 as well. Of all of them, the best predictor of revenue was exactly as Doc predicted, which is watch time at 0.9. Usually, can we bring up that watch time graph again?
Yeah, well, that makes sense because that's more, just more like video being watched.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. It's very simple, right?
Yeah,
the more video you watch, the more that you see ads, the more money that you make, right? By the way, that might be a foreign concept to some creators out there, right? That's not necessarily true on all platforms, right? And so you can see here that slope is pretty steep. The more you go, the more you get people to actually watch your videos, the higher your revenue is. And for me, I think that it's really telling because a lot of times when we as creators are making these videos, one of the things that we really optimize for is the metric that we see the most, right? Which in a lot of cases is the number of views that we're getting. People are always talking about how to maximize your views. How do you get more people to watch your content? How do you get people to click through on your thumbnail? People don't always talk about how you get people to watch and continue watching, right? And for you, Benji, as the months went on, you actually started to decrease the number of views you were getting. You started to decrease the amount you were posting, but because people were watching you for longer, you actually were ending up making a pretty steady amount of money over that period of time.
Because the view is a false number.
Because the view is a false number. And guess what? That's counted differently all over the place.
Right? So I pressed the video to go watch it, and then you called me, and it was like, yo, Unc, I got a question about XYZ. That video is playing, but I'm talking to Austin for 10 minutes. And that video goes, whatever, and maybe I switched to something else because I needed to show you, like, oh, try this one is better. If it plays for more than, what is it, Benji, like 17 seconds, or actually it's less than that now. I think it's like 8 or 9 seconds. That counts as a view. That's not an actual watch.
Which, by the way, is a better metric or better, like, it's more representative of a true view though than other platforms.
Yeah, something like a short form platform where just any view.
You can't even get to 17 seconds on the average view duration there.
Right. And you know what you always send me though, right? At the end, you're like, hey, check out the last stream. Look at the how much people is watching for how long. Like, that's more real. They're hanging out with you. They're learning from you. You're building that community. And this is talking about platform as far as what YouTube is paying you as far as AdSense. AdSense fluctuates. It's just one of those type of things. Like right now, season is terrible because it's almost tax time.
Can I do a short rant? Oh, go ahead.
However, because of your know, like, and trust, if you were to drop a cookbook now, that revenue that comes from the long graph of know, like, and trust people, they're in like Flint. Quinn, Snazzy Labs, he's a Mac creator. He just created these cleaning cloths. And, no other way than to support the creator than to buy his $12 cleaning cloth. So I bought it. Just to give him a thanks because he's a cool cat. You know what I mean? But how come I was willing to, without even seeing it, just buy what he put out? Because I have watched, like Benji, I've watched, maybe 40, 50 plus of his videos end to end. Like title to title, a title to buy. I was going to say mahalo because that's the end of my video. But, and so you built that relationship with this person. It's like, yo, Quinn, if I could buy you dinner, I would buy you dinner, but you far away, so I'll just buy a cleaning cloth instead.
Know, like, and trust. Benji, any closing thoughts for us here?
So I try not to flex about myself, but 100%.
You say that, he put his arms in the front. You saw that? I try not to flex.
But I will show off what my wife does. One of the reasons I uploaded less is because, well, number one, I didn't want to become this new age vlogger, right? I did it because of Daniel Patel. I'm so grateful for it because now I vlog on a channel that I basically like retired, okay? I was never going to create content, and now I'm doing it just for fun, by the way. Like Alyssa Liu. I'm doing it and I'm just enjoying the process. So at any given time, if I have a good idea, I can just make it happen. But the thing that we've always been consistent on is my wife's channel. It's Judy's Life, okay? You want to know what happened to that channel after this new vlog method? Number one, my wife actually listened to me. Okay, when it comes to YouTube, she never needed to listen to me because she's like the queen. She already knows what she's doing. What do I have to offer? But she was vlogging the old way in a new era. And that's what she's like, wow, if it works for you, let me give it a try. And she does laps around me. Now, to be fair, we vlog together. This is a family vlog channel. It's really less of the kids. It's more about my wife and I as a married couple, as parents, okay? Judy doesn't like to share the numbers on that channel or talk too much about it. Let me just tell you, in some cases, it 4x'd our revenue. AVD went way up. Watch time, crazy. So I agree now. Like, I totally realized, like, well, I don't know why I said AVD versus watch time, because she's now vlogging the new way. And this is what's crazy. She tells me it's easier to edit. And she's edited 5,000 vlogs, okay? If there's somebody that knows about vlogging, editing vlogs, that's her. It's easier for her to vlog, right? We're not vlogging more. That's what's crazy. We're vlogging actually less, okay? AVD is way up, the average view duration. Revenue is up. And then when we had the vlogging channel last year, right? She vlogged 30 days in a row. The analytics were ridiculous. It wasn't even logical what happened to her channel. It was like, you know, like I talk about how one of my favorite movies is Maverick, Top Gun, and Tom Cruise comes in as a coach, like, let me show these cats how it's done, right? And then like he passes the test with flying colors. I felt like I was kind of doing that with Daniel Batal, but no, I was just a little tiny little vlogger. My wife comes in with the B-20 bomber, and like it's just skyrocketing everything I was doing for myself and teaching other vloggers. Why do I share that story? This works for everybody. This works for even the person that can do it the old way and can edit amazing stuff. And it's crazy. And so going back to like more basics, you just have to simplify the process, and more simple content can win if you understand in this new era what viewers want. You're not going to compete against Netflix and Hulu and the movies and the shows, the HBO specials. You're not going to compete against the Logan Pauls or the creators that have like these super edited piece of content or Mr. Beast. There's this like new lane that like people doing selfie videos in their cars are getting 100,000 views. Sam Sulek is the most popular. One of the reasons I do grocery store vlogs is because this guy named Sam Sulek, who's not even into food, he's like a bodybuilder, went into the grocery store and straight filmed himself for 45 minutes, and that video got 1 million views. It's his #1 viewed video. By the way, it's like 4 to 5 million views, okay? And that was the moment I was like, old school YouTube is working, but it's working if you're just like more casual and you make a longer video. This is a new era that we're in. And even if things are scary, I'm telling you, this stuff works. It worked for me. It worked for my wife. It works for students of mine. And live streaming, I really believe, is like the next evolution of it.